Greetings and salutations, I'm Keb. Welcome back to this Let's Play of 80 Days. We are losing time quite rapidly here. But yeah, travels are going to be very slow once we leave Europe, and we are in a bit of a pickle here. I think we're going to make it. Only day 25 of 80, after all. Onwards. Monsieur Williamson offered me a pipeful of tobacco in the evening. I am perplexed by my daughter, he admitted miserably. What is so perplexing? I asked gently. She does not behave in the manner of a lady at all, he groaned. She told me last night that she has been writing penny dreadfuls for this past year. She is... His gentlemanly voice dropped with horror, so the last word was a mere croak. Published! Yeah, so she's been writing penny dreadfuls, which is basically cheap paperback novels of the era. Her endless scribbling and ink-stained fingers made a sudden sense. You must be very proud. Cheaply printed tales of humor and adventure were a London fashion, which had quickly spread. Indeed, the most popular stories were set in Egypt and Africa, and I had little doubt that Demoiselle Williamson had added her own inventions to their number. What? Monsieur Williamson glared at me. It is a scandal. She has broken her engagement because she has independent means. Yeah, okay, she's making her own money, huh? That's bad. Perhaps then she will find her own husband, I suggested. Monsieur Williamson's neck turned an unsavory shade of purple. But anyone with a penny may now read her most intimate thoughts, wantonly printed upon the page. I am sure they are not true thoughts, monsieur. Who's to know, he shrugged. And whatever are her true thoughts? She is as thorough a mystery to me as his imagination failed, and he spat, a foreigner. I sighed and considered my next words. At least she... has told you the truth. And after only a year of lies, Monsieur Williamson corrected bitterly. He took his leave soon after. And as I retired to bed, I saw him still pacing the deck, eyes downcast. Poor guy. Doesn't like that his daughter is actually getting on in the world without him. Now I get to talk to her. We know all these travel routes. Let's try to switch the topic to Allahabad. I want to go from Allahabad to Benares. Okay. Benares to Agra. Ah, that's right. We can't actually get to Agra now. At least I don't think so. I don't think it's possible to go from Bombay up to Agra. But that would be a detour anyway. A slim volume had been slid under my door in the night, bound with a ribbon and a short note. My latest volume, I hope you will enjoy it as much as I have enjoyed our friendship, Nor. I picked up the cheaply bound book, titled Adriana and the Lost Sarcophagus of the Thebes, and opened it. At the first page. Adriana Harawi was no ordinary lady. While other girls of her age and background took up watercolors and practiced their scales upon the piano and dreamed of matrimony, Adriana dreamed of sun-bleached cities and featureless deserts of yellow sand. I settled in to read Mrs. Williamson's novella until my master woke and required my services. Okay. Didn't get the book, did we? We did get something. Oh, okay, fine. Well, demanded Monsieur Demoiselle Williamson at lunch, what did you think of my story? Adriana is a charming creation. I only wish my father thought so, she sighed. He read my volume last night and believes Adriana is merely a cipher for my own passions and being. You are both adventurers. Hardly. Adriana visited over 15 countries. She has ridden camels and horses and wrestled a crocodile. while in her nightgown. And these things are fictions? Maybe not. There is some invention at work then. Indeed there is, she agreed, though my father doesn't see it. He believes Lord Havering to be Adriana's lover, and now suspects that I am concealing my own paramour from him. She glared into the middle distance. Lord Havering is the villain. He is Adriana's nemesis. He is utterly misreading the text. Perhaps your father is a romantic. My father a romantic? She looked utterly scandalized. He simply cannot follow plots. Havering thwarts Adriana constantly and condescends to her at every turn. He even threatens her with a rapier. That is hardly romantic. Mademoiselle Williamson dug in her venison savagely, muttering of interfering fathers and irresponsible readers. Wisely. And wisely, I smiled in the most amicable, friendly fashion. There was clearly nothing that could be done for the unfortunate father-daughter pair. Let's see, I have some choices here. Other than perhaps to lock them in a room together. To force them to talk. I wonder if we get that option. And if we click wait, we are sometimes going to get newspaper headlines. And also post the clock, by the way. And these are also hints. There are actually very few cases where you need to read the newspaper to learn special hidden adventures. But there's a price, of course. If you do that, you can't converse and you can't attend to Fogg, so... But that newspaper heading we already knew about. We already visited the World's Fair and the soldiers. Okay. I am no tourist, Sir Francis declared with cheerful glee towards my master as they dealt another hand. I'm taking the train to Calcutta on important business. How long does the train take? I inquired, or was about to, as just then the infernal Monsieur Williamson stormed in, threw a glove at me, and bellowed a challenge. Do that is to accept it. Excuse me, monsieur? I asked in bewilderment. You mean to challenge me? You, said Monsieur Williamson, voice dripping with venom, are Lord Havering, and you have led my daughter astray. Okay. I dared not look at Monsieur Fogg's reaction to this. The revelation his valet was a lord might be a little too much for him. Do not try to deny it, he added. Monsieur, Lord Havering is a fictional character. Aha! He picked up his glove and then tossed it once more. You have read her text then, you blackguard. And yet the way we spoke together, you acted quite the charming innocent. He drew his arm back and made a fist, and I realized he was almost certainly about to punch me in the face. I threw myself to the floor, not wishing to engage in a fisticuffs like a dockside brawler. Equally, I had a powerful urge to protect my delicate cherished face from his brutish fists. He tripped over me and we tangled together upon the carpeted floor. What in the name of Ra and Osiris is going on? Miss Williamson shouted, arriving at the precise unfortunate moment. She seized her father by the armpits and dragged him away, muttering various unladylike curses as I... called vague apologies. Monsieur Fogg regarded me with a remarkable aplomb, given the scene which had preceded. You would tell me, would you not, if you had outraged any ladies of late, Passepartout? He remarked. I nodded neatly, trying, if possible, to regather my composure. So that reduced our relationship, unfortunately. I don't know if there was a good option there. I kept my cabin on the last day of our journey to avoid any repetition of the previous evening's debacle, but I could not avoid Miss Williamson as I disembarked at Bombay. She clutched her hands to her bosom theatrically as she spotted me. "Goodbye, my dear Lord Havering," she called, counterfeiting a sickly love-struck smile. "I will never forget you." "Nor I you, my Adriana," I called back, with a rakish smile as her father turned a bright, horrible shade of red beside her. And then we disembarked into the humid, salt and smoke-laced air of Bombay. We had arrived in India. And 30 days have almost passed. It is also afternoon, so we can't really do much, I think. We'll arrive at 5 PM. Yeah, all the routes are currently closed. We can travel to Madras in 2 days, 1 PM. Or we can travel northward to Calcutta tomorrow at noon. The market, yes, we have to go there before it closes. Hong Kong, Chittagong, and Agra. Hong Kong. Yeah, that's right. This is more valuable elsewhere. Venetian glass, that won't really be of use to us anymore. We passed Riyadh. Oh, we got the book. That's worth money in Calcutta. But we have to be careful with our items at the moment. Chittagong, Bangalore, and Agra. Oh, the clock is ticking. Oh, darn it, now the market closed. There's Bangalore. Okay, so we can reach Bangalore. Let's see. What about Chittagong? Can we go to Chittagong? Ah, map. Oh yeah, Chittagong is all the way over there. Okay, we'll follow the route through northern India. Singapore, Hong Kong, and Agra. We won't be able to sell that before we get across the sea. We're not going to need this one anymore, I think. We're not going to need that one either. We are going to travel through Chittagong. Yeah, we're definitely going to travel through Chittagong. That means getting to Bombay, not Bombay, to Calcutta first. Tomorrow, 12 noon. We could sell that other item too, and we'll see. We'll have a few hours in the morning to quickly fix our items, I suppose. Monsieur Fogg cared not a straw for the wonders of Bombay, but gave me a few hours' leisure as he settled to his evening paper. I ended up wheezing and puffing my way up Malabar Hill, the highest point in South Bombay. I paused at the top. And then made some choices. By the way, there are some adventures here that are not from the book, but from the films or from the animation. So there are quite a few different adventures to be found here. Let's see. I had to look towards the city. I could see the gas lamps along the Queen's Necklace of Marine Drive being lit one by one, preparing for the evening, and palm trees waving in the salt-scented breeze. Catching my breath, I found my steps irresistibly drawn towards the Hanging Gardens, which shielded the Parsi Tower of Silence from the bay. The Hanging Gardens were magnificent. Little steam-powered curricles and horse-drawn carriages vied for space underneath the shady trees. British officers escorted their stiff-bodied wives or made eyes at brightly dressed Indian girls. And in the shadow of the gardens, I saw the symbol of the copper lily on the door of a converted mansion. We learned that a long time ago that they were situated in Bombay, right? The Artificers Guild. I approached and knocked on the door, and was given a cup of tea and a cushioned wicker chair almost as soon as I crossed the threshold of this outpost of the Artificers Guild. They were a varied group. Most were British or Indian, but I spotted a few Turks and Chinese. More than half were women, and all sat sipping tea together as equals and poring over periodicals. A middle-aged Sikh in a blue turban, bright blue turban, and admirably pressed trousers approached me. "What is it you require, traveller?" I want to know the fastest way from here." Oh my goodness. Dharampal, the Sikh man, wrinkled his nose. "Not the train," he said. "The papers say it goes to Calcutta, but the line stops at Allahabad." Allahabad, yeah. "There is no track between there and Calcutta." "So we would be stranded if we went that way." "Perhaps so," Dharampal replied cheerfully. I thanked the artificers profusely before taking my leave, though alas I was too distracted by my musings that I failed to notice two thuggish fellows with ill intent who cornered me in a side street and demanded my shoes. Oh dear. I handed them over, without fussing, aware that antagonizing them might lead to further, less commodious demands upon my person. I returned to my master barefoot and rather shamefaced. "I hope that this will not happen again," said my master coldly. That was to be the last word on Bombay, gateway to the jewel in the crown of the British Empire, except for, "And what, pray, has happened to your shoes?" At any rate, now we learned that traveling there will actually stop us up here. Maybe we should go over there instead then. So we'll do this instead, and we'll hire extra package space, and we'll go. Yeah, I was going to go the northern route, but as in the novels, that train track is not finished. And we're running out of time. And since we learned this little tidbit, I decided to go the other route. Yeah, okay. The Bombay Express was a fine train, luxurious and opulent. Inside each softly lit compartment, Persian rugs and Venetian lamps threw color over fittings of teakwood and burnished brass. Most acceptable, if only all our journeys were so well appointed. There's nothing more than to do what wait. Guild spokesman confirms bomb in soup not aimed at Fogg. So yeah, that was the bomb back in Budapest, was it? Belgrade? Somewhere up there. No, it was Vienna, wasn't it? Somewhere up there. I went to explore the observation decks, set with wicker chairs and parasols to better and more comfortably observe the countryside flashing past. And that was where I met Anne-Marie Spencer, a girl of maybe 10 years, sketching the distant hills. I greeted her politely as I took the spot beside her. She smiled, and with deft movements adjusted the position of her wheeled chair to give me more room, dropping one of her pencils as she moved. I returned it with a bow, and she giggled. "You must be French," she declared. "You are gallant indeed." I smiled politely and looked aside. "I knew it," she said. "I have a good eye. I see things as they are. That is why I draw." I looked over her pictures, to be confronted by their strangeness. I could not recognize anything of the landscape she was so closely watching in the lines and shapes that filled the page. "You have a most unusual style," I hedged. "Oh, monsieur," she said. "I have a good eye. I can see you are lying." I shrugged and did not attempt to deny it. "Your pictures are terrible, mademoiselle," I told her. "They offend my eye, my sense of proportion and space. They are unspeakable." She nodded. "Most honorable," she replied. I knew it. Just then my attention was distracted, as my master beckoned me over to make ready the evening wear. I bid her farewell, and she nodded to me. I will see you again, Monsieur Passepartout, she told me as I left her. I did not stop to wonder that day how it was she knew my name. So yeah, she sees things indeed. And she knew our name without even asking. Let's converse. I want to go from Madras to Chittagong. Or somewhere in that direction. What about to Colombo? Colombo to Singapore. Okay. Maybe I screwed up then. Maybe there's no way for me to go from Madras up to Chittagong after all. Well, let's attend to Fogg. The next morning I discovered I had lost my passport. Uh-oh, that's not good. I told Monsieur Fogg immediately, risking his displeasure at the possibility of delay, but in truth I think he was amused. Should I lose my Passepartout, he replied, I would be most vexed. So now I have some choices. I decided to enlist the help of Anne-Marie and her excellent eye, so I tracked her down on the observation deck and explained the situation. She looked most concerned. What might happen to you without documents? My master is well respected, so I doubt I will be imprisoned, I replied gallantly. She nodded. Well then, we shall have to look, won't we? I think you should search in the crew cabins, with which my chair cannot access, and I will look about here. But I have not been to the crew cabins, I replied with surprise. No, she said. But if it had been stolen, who would want a valet's passport? Someone hoping to travel from this country to another. Do you not agree? If that were true, who could I trust? Even the train guard himself might have taken it. As I was heading from the car, I thought of one more thing to ask, and returned only to find Anne-Marie doubled up with laughter, having not moved from her spot. What is going on? She tried to look serious, but then she began to giggle, at first delicately, then more and more uproariously. Let's see, do you want to expose her? We have a feeling what's going on here. Mademoiselle, why do you laugh so? Giggles broke into open laughter. You are a ninny, she exclaimed. At which moment Monsieur Fogg appeared on the scene with a train guard. Young lady, the guard demanded, stand up. I watched, horrified, as young crippled Anne-Marie got up from her wheelchair and then curtsied in front of me. I'm afraid I am a dreadful kleptomaniac, she apologized, with deep insincerity, and a unparalleled liar to boot. Then she giggled again. And the chair? Young Miss Spencer and I had an arrangement, the guard said. She promised to stay in the chair and out of mischief, and I agreed not to lock her in a compartment for the trip to Madras. My passport, please, I demanded with no small irritation. I dropped it, she replied, with an indifferent shrug. Somewhere. Tell me where, I insisted firmly. Then Anne-Marie sat down again, suddenly glum. You've stopped being charming, she said morosely. Here's your passport. She reached into a fold of her dress and pulled out my papers, and the guard wheeled her away as I wiped my brow with relief. A long and most difficult delay had been avoided. And that is all we care about, right? And there's a standard newsline. Phileas Fogg attempts round-the-world adventure. Indeed we are. And we're about to approach Madras. I did not see the girl at all today. I think she was being kept within her quarters under some kind of observation. Huh. No doubt medical in nature. I had heard of such indispositions before, but clearly this was a remarkable case. I occupied my time eavesdropping, hoping to gather information for our next leg. I met a cheerful Javanese girl. Who am I? And had a pleasant if unproductive conversation that whiled the hours away. And we're still traveling on the Madras Mail and approaching the sea. Voyage d'Amour exclusive. Oh my. I think we made a book. Publishing sensation Nor Williamson has Voyage d'Amour exclusive. Yeah, so sometimes the newspaper refers to what we've experienced, not things that lie ahead. And here comes Madras. But before then, I think it's time for a short break. Thank you for watching.